Hello everyone, my name is Mevi and today I'll be giving my presentation on the impact of property rights on the Niger Delta community. The Niger Delta community is a region in Nigeria that consists of 6 states, namely Edo, Ondo, Delta, Cross River State, Bayelsa, and River State. The region is the lifeline of the Nigerian community because Nigeria generates most of its revenue and foreign exchange from the sales of crude oil. The region also makes the country the sixth largest oil exporting country in the world, thus giving Nigeria sort of like some sort of recognition in the global economy. Although Niger Delta generates a huge portion of Nigeria's revenue, the region is ridden with poverty and is a security concern for the country. In this paper, I argue that property right laws, particularly the Land Use Act of 1978, is the primary cause of the Niger Delta crisis. The Niger Delta crisis is essentially a threefold problem, that is environmental, economic crisis, and politics. It is also important to note that the Land Use Act is essentially an annex to Nigerian property laws. For this paper, the research question is: how has Nigerian property right laws affected the Niger Delta community? And then the methodology I'm using for this paper is a single subject case study because I'm looking at specifically the Niger Delta region in Nigeria. And then data collection method is academic literature. I also have two working hypotheses. And the first one is property right laws in Nigeria, particularly the Land Use Act, is targeted at keeping the Niger Delta indigenous from accessing oil minerals because the Nigerian government and its elite rather have absolute control of all resources as a result of the economic power that all revenue generates. The second hypothesis is that Nigerian property right laws is the root cause of the Niger Delta crisis. So before the implementation of the Land Use Act, which essentially gave the Nigerian federal government of Nigeria exclusive rights to ownership and control of all resources as well as the lands. Ownership and control of lands was actually vested in the hands of traditional leaders, but when oil was eventually commercialized and then Nigeria started generating lots of revenue from the sales of crude oil, the property right laws and land use and ownership right laws in Nigeria actually changed. So the Land Use Act gives total ownership and control of land and resources to the federal government. The federal government in turn then gives exclusive rights to export Niger Delta for crude oil to multinational corporations who have little regard for the socio-economic activities of the Niger Delta indigenes. Oil exploration activities in Nigeria was accompanied by several activities which were unfavorable to Niger Delta indigenes as well as the ecosystem. These activities include oil spills, gas flaring, and land take. The Niger Delta community was and is still vastly agrarian in the sense that they generate most of their revenue and sustenance from the sales and cultivation of farm produce. This is food crops and aquatic life alike. So not only is agriculture inextricably tied to the economic activities of Niger Delta, it is also tied to the social and cultural life of the region. So, all exploration activities in Nigeria in the Niger Delta region led to the pollution of water bodies and land, just making it impossible for indigenes to farm and fish, hence an increase of poverty in the region. Um, the discovery of oil in Nigeria led to oil politics, and that is who gets to access the resources, who gets to use it, who gets to control this stuff like that. So this was actually why the federal government of Nigeria enacted the 1978 Land Use Act, which essentially restricted Niger Delta indigenes from accessing their resources and left the region in a dilapidated state. In response to this, Niger Delta indigenes requested adequate compensation from the government and also rights to access their resources. But till date, the Nigerian government has ignored them, and the result of this has been violence from indigenes of Niger Delta against oil expatriates and also oil bunkering. The federal government has also responded to acts of violence from Niger Delta indigenes by situating military and paramilitary officials in Niger Delta to protect oil resources, and have also encouraged multinational oil corporations to do the same. So for this paper, I'll be making use of 4 theoretical concepts. First is the stable theory of growth, which suggests that natural resource abundance would enable thriving economies to overcome poverty. Second is the resource cost, which suggests that resource-endowed countries would underperform economically despite benefiting from the trade of natural resources. The third one is rent-seeking, which suggests that the practice of manipulating public policy or economic conditions as a result of a strategy for increasing profits. And the last one is the indigenous people's participatory rights in relation to decisions about natural resource extraction, which is actually embedded in a UN document. I'm actually blanking on the name, but I mentioned it somewhere in this presentation. At the initial stages of oil discovery, the Nigerian economy was actually doing absolutely well. They were exporting about 5,100 barrels of oil per day, and then the sales of oil actually earned Nigeria the name the Giant of Africa. This speaks to the economic prosperity that was accompanied the discovery and sales of oil. However, over time, crude oil exploration led to massive destruction in the ecosystem in Nigeria, incidents of gas rains and oil spill incidents rendered aquatic systems of Niger Delta region inhabitable for aquatic life. The environmental crisis also negatively impacted the socioeconomic capacities of inhabitants of Niger Delta who depend on aquatic life for sustenance. And then rent seeking. Since the discovery of oil in Nigeria, oil has become a major determinant of political power in the country. This has made elites scramble for oil resources and then cause petrocapitalism. This is a situation where the elites and the federal government tries to monopolize the access to resources and the benefits from oil production. So essentially that is the Nigerian government, changing Nigerian property laws and instituting the Land Use Act of 1978 to restrict indigenes from accessing resources and also as a mechanism to maximize profit. Next is the indigenous people's participatory rights in relation to the decisions about natural resource extraction. So the Article 26 in the UN Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People actually gives sole rights of land ownership, use and control to Niger Delta individuals, and state that in a situation where the federal government would have to access those rights, they must get consent the um, from the indigenous. This is in relation to the recognition that lands actually play an important role in the socioeconomic rights and in the activities and cultural activities of indigens. This article also recognizes uh, it also recognizes that in a situation whereby the federal government would have to engage in explorative activities which can in some way or in some way affect the activities or the day-to-day activities of indigents, the federal government is mandated to work together with traditional leaders and indigenous of the community to see that their interests are being met and that they are being taken into consideration at every step of decision making, of every step of the process. But in the case of Niger Delta crisis, they were actually not consulted and they were actually not taken into consideration before the Land Use Act was instituted. They have not received adequate compensation from the government. The Niger Delta is essentially in a state of turmoil because of the Land Use Act of 1970 of 1978, which gave ownership rights and of the rights of ownership and control of resources as well as land to the federal government, that they gave us exploitative rights to multinational corporations who do not even regard the socioeconomic activities as well as the lifestyle of indigenes. So that caused like the all explorative activities is caused like economic problems, there's poverty, that's caused environmental problems, there's land pollution, water pollution, and security issues as a result of the retaliation from Niger Delta indigenes against government and oil expatriates, and also the retaliation from oil expatriates and the federal government against the indigenes of Niger Delta. So these are my references. Thanks for listening. I know that was a bit lengthy, but thanks for listening, and I am open to comments and suggestions and feedback. Thank you for listening.